now available in paperback and e-readers. Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. A 23-year-old swirler was found dead inside of her Bridgeport, New York apartment. Now, in this incident, which took place on December 12th, 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields was found dead inside of her apartment after meeting with an older white man on the dating app Bumble. Now, this incident is a troubling one because this black woman went out here and got on the dating app Bumble, got involved with this older white man, and then after she got involved with this older white man, she winds up dead, and the police don't even ask this man any sort of questions or take him in for any sort of questioning. And they say they did this because they thought that this older white man was too, quote unquote, nice. Now, I find that to be very troubling when I hear this because it shows me that there's possibly some bias as related to the police. But when you take a further examination of what happened here with Lauren Smith Fields, it shows us the dangers of so-called swirling and the dangers of trying to get involved with these white men online. Now, I wrote at length in my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, that the online dating is the most dangerous thing you could do. And it's dangerous because in many cases, the people who go to online dating are usually the bottom of the barrel of the dating scene. So there are not any sort of princes on the other side of that dating profile. In many cases, what you're dealing with are a lot of snakes and vipers. And I guess you're Lauren Smith Fields because she was probably looking to go out here and hashtag divest and level up by getting involved with an older white man who she would use as a sugar daddy. Thought she would go out here and get with a better guy, but what happened was she might have wound up in a situation where she put her life in jeopardy. And what's really troubling here is that even after this beautiful young black woman wound up losing her life, she is not going to be able to get any sort of justice from the criminal justice system because the criminal justice system believes that a possible suspect, the last person to have ever seen her, is quote unquote too nice to be investigated. And that's one of the pitfalls of going out here and swirling and so-called leveling up, is that this white man who might be the last person who sees you might not ever bring out any details as related to what happened to you, because in white supremacist America, the criminal justice system is made by white men to benefit white men. And if those white men don't want to go out here and pursue any sort of charges as related to things that happen to you as a black woman, you're just plumb out of luck as related to the justice system. This is a point that I made in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, as related to trying to warn black women about getting involved with white men. Because if that white man goes out here and something happens to you, the other white men in the criminal justice system are going to give him the benefit of a doubt. And oftentimes, his word will be considered the truth, and whatever word you have will be considered a lie. And if something tragic happens to you, what's going to happen is that those white men in the criminal justice system are going to try to find a way to justify whatever happened to you, just like in this case of Lauren Smith Fields, who wound up losing her life, and the last person who ever saw her, this white man who was older that she was on an online date with, this person is never going to be asked any sort of questions as related to this woman's passing. And that's the type of thing that can happen when you go out here and online date looking for white sugar daddies or white men to be that go out here and have relationships with. This could end very tragically for any of these so-called swirlers and these women who want to quote unquote hashtag divest. What can happen is that you can get involved with this white man, and if something happens to you as you are involved with this white man, then this white man is going to be given that benefit of a doubt by the white supremacist criminal justice system, and they're going to say he might possibly be too nice a guy to have done anything, but you will never get any details to let you know what happened in the case as related to your daughter or member of your family. And that's what's happened here, because nobody really told this Lauren Smith Fields about the dark side of swirling and the dark side of getting involved with these white males who are on these online dating sites like Bumble. Because the white guys who are on these online dating sites, these are not quality men. No, quality men do not go on cyberspace looking for women. No, quality men can go out here and approach a woman face to face and pursue a relationship with a woman face to face. No, only the dregs of society are on online dating, and these bottom feeders are looking for some easy sex, and they're also looking to sate whatever sexually deviant fetishes they have. And some of these guys, they have a fetish for some chocolate or a fetish for a black woman, and that's the thing that they go for, and they go looking for black women to sate their sexual fetishes with, and they're not really thinking about that woman as a person. No, they see that woman as an object in whatever fantasy they have in their rose-colored world, and as they're having their fantasy in their rose-colored world, they believe they can just do whatever they want to that woman without regard for her feelings. So a lot of these so-called swirlers, they're going out here thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to go out here and get with a white guy who's going to level up and be able to help me leave the black community. But in actuality, they're getting involved with a beta male sociopath. And a lot of times when they're getting involved with this sociopath, they have no idea what danger they're in, because they're so caught up in this man's skin tone that they're not looking at the content of his character. And because they're not looking at the content of his character, all they're seeing is the color of his skin. And because, as the late David Carroll used to say, that white skin covers a multitude of sins and imperfections, in her eyes, what happens is she gets involved with a man not knowing she's getting involved with a deadly predator, and that she doesn't know how dangerous these kind of guys are, because all she's thinking about is, she's getting involved with this older white man who she can go out here and level up with. But the whole thing is, this beta male is a level down. And again, a lot of these swirlers, they don't understand that, you're playing with fire with these kind of guys, and you try to talk to them. Unfortunately, they are thinking that, oh, I've got these looks, I've got this money, I've got everything going for me, and they're thinking about all these things that this guy has. Now, this girl, she was one of these, I think, IG models or things like that, and sadly, all she was thinking about was, I want to get a white guy to take care of me. And sadly, she wound up in a situation where she was possibly taken out by someone, and sadly, we'll never get to the bottom of her death, which is what happened to many black people during the dark days of Jim Crow. What happened in those dark days of Jim Crow is that some black people wound up dead or missing, or never, and their cases were never brought to justice. And sadly, that's happened here. And the family is trying to figure out what happened here, and they can't get any information, all because the police department says the older white man she got involved with was too nice to do anything, and that is one of the scariest things about this whole case. And again, this whole case should be a warning sign for all of those so-called swirlers and divestors. I mean, I find it interesting that they never talk about this upswing in this trend as related to the violence that's been happening to black women who get involved with white men. And I may do a whole video just talking about that subject at length, because it's looking like a trend now with these white men. And it really ties into the man crisis, because a lot of these black women, they're thinking that they're going to get a top shelf alpha male Brad, but what they're dealing with are these bottom shelf beta bobs, and they're dealing with these omega type guys. And as they're dealing with these betas and omegas, these guys are ticking time bombs. And what happens is that they don't see a black woman as a person. They see her as part of their fantasy, and because she's part of their fantasy, they feel that she's disposable, and that they can go out here and possibly do things to her they wouldn't do to white women. And in some cases, this is why we're seeing more and more of these black women winding up in these dangerous situations where their lives are being lost or their lives are being put in jeopardy. Now, if you want to learn more about how to avoid these types of predators in situations like online dating, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And if you want to learn why the swirling is not a good thing for black women, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And if you want to learn more about the dangerous beta males out here, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.